so hard. I think we're live. Thanks for staying up. Played this guitar in so long. I'm gonna take these strings a little bit get to their final resting place. That's not bad. And we are live. Hold on. YouTube is giving me an ad to tell me to place ads. Oh, YouTube. Well, at least now they're asking. I suspect at some point in the future, they're like, look, we asked you over and over and over, and you said no. So, you know what? Now we're just doing it. I could see that happen. Because, money. Oh, God, that is so good. I'm drinking coffee at 11:47 at night. But that's all right. Audio and video are excellent. Good to hear. What do we got? John Gregory, Matt Dummett, Mark Miller, Jimmy P, Christopher, Michael, Trolls, Pedra, Curtis, Rico B, Chili 60F. You know, a year ago this week we were between like 45 and 65, and the prior week we were between like 45 and 55. You know, not this year. We've been below normal like every day except one, and pretty far below normal too. 10, 20 degrees below normal. It is freaking cold. And you know, as I had mentioned to people, my furnace broke. We're still working off of space heaters. The new furnace goes in on Tuesday. But I just took this quick snapshot the other morning when I came down to the basement. That's Alfred E. Newman. And it's 11C. Now, if you're thinking Fahrenheit, that's going to seem really cold. But that's you know, for indoors, I think a lot of people would agree 11C indoors, a little brisk. That's a little chilly. That's up from 9. It wasn't until it got to 11 that I was like, oh, you know what? I should take a picture of this. So it got down to single digits down here, but that's all right. I think it's. Is that a 5 or a 6? It's 15. It's 15C down here now, which is why I'm wearing a sweatshirt. Right here. No, that's 100% battery life. It's a clock that has a lithium-ion battery in it, but I never unplug it from the USB charger because it goes dead and I forget to plug the stupid thing back in again. So the 100% is the battery charge. I mean, come on. Do we need a lithium ion? Can't we just plug this thing in? But no, it has a lithium ion battery in it, and I leave it plugged in 24/7. What's that in F? My C guys can tell me. 11C, that's about 53? 55? 53? I think, roughly. Yeah, I almost think, the guitars would be dripping. It's almost worse. One time we were playing up in the barn. We had a real cold stretch, and we got like the warmest, humidest, chunk of air. Everything was dripping. We went up in the barn, and my guitar was literally covered, and it was dripping. Everybody's gear was completely dripping, except the drummer's, because he covered his drums in a sheet, and it frickin' worked. It totally worked. And I was like, God damn, I should have covered this in a sheet. Is it 51? Yeah. That sounds about right. Oh, thank you, Dave. That's very much appreciated. Yeah, it gets installed on Tuesday. In fact, I've spent a lot of this week, you don't think your furnace is going to die. And I can get to the front panel, but it's pretty crowded. It's tough for them to come in and take that furnace out and put another furnace in. So in some ways I have to kind of semi-dismantle the synth room. I've got to knock a couple of those computers offline, take them out of the area, and I really want to cover the keyboards. I have moving blankets that I've purchased from Harbor Freight on, buy a moving blanket for $4. It's like, yeah, you sold me. Okay, you know what? I can't think of a need right now, but I'll probably come up with one. And now I have one. I have used it in my car to protect my car seats when I put wood in, not to rip the seats. I'll lay that moving blanket over it, which is so thick and heavy. It's really good. But I believe it's got grommets on one end, along one side, the long side. And I should be able to put up some screws or nails, probably screws, right? Screw in some screws, and then, or maybe even some hooks. I might even have hooks, and hang it over where all the keyboards are, just to protect them all, because I can't move them. I have no place to put them. So the best thing I can do is seal them up, because they have to go from the furnace right through the synth room to the other side to get to the outside wall. And normally I would say they don't even have to do that. All I have to do is pull the PVC pipe off. But since we had that installed, they changed the spec. Not on the input pipe. The input pipe can stay. But the output pipe has to be this new material. It can't be PVC. They want it to be some other stupid shit. So, which is going to tack on $100 to the cost. Because he goes, well, I can tell you this much. It's not as cheap as PVC. He goes, and I got to put it in to be up to code. So one pipe has to get replaced, which means they have to get from the furnace to the the wall of the house, to the and the hole's already cut and everything, but they got to take the old one out and they got to put the new one in. And it all happens on Tuesday. Tuesday is the day. So I've been prepping. I am living on space heaters. I'm running, let me think about this for a second. I am running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm running 6 space heaters. The only rule I have is that for pretty much everyone, you're not allowed to go past low because I'm worried about a fire. So I don't let anyone crank it up to like the full 1500 watts. And I've got to keep them all on separate lines because some of our lines are really doubled up here. You know, one of these switches does like half the living room, my son's room, and friggin' attic. That's a lot of lines off of one friggin' line. So other ones are just, you hit it, it's just literally one outlet. Right? There's an outlet down here that just goes straight up. One line, nothing else on the line. So that, it's been good. The ones in the bathrooms were updated to 20 amp instead of the 15 amp, right? It's the what's that, the yellow coated, right? It's got the yellow jacket instead of the white jacket. White jacket's regular, yellow jacket is 20, and I want to say orange jacket is 30, right? And they're rated on how much power they can take down the line. And I know for a fact that when they did the bathroom in 2017, they put in 20s all around. And they're both direct lines, separate lines, because they said blow dryers. They're like, we want separate lines. And they're all GPC, right? Or GFC. Ground power? No, ground fault. Yeah, GFC. Protected. GFCP. So, what's up, guys? We got Papa Blue, Gary, Proto, Rico B, if I didn't say Rico B already, Dave, Dave, and the other Dave. All the Daves are here. And, yeah. Yeah, it's not so bad. And don't forget, I'm also running and what's really heating the house up is I'm running my, I have a gas fireplace, which is really a heating appliance. In fact, you're really not supposed to run it without the fan on. It'll get too hot. Like if you turn that fireplace on, you kind of must run the heater to cool it off. That thing's been running for nonstop for freaking 10 straight days. It's gonna be, it's not nearly as efficient is the friggin' gas burner, I can tell you that. Those get injected with air. They come out like jets, like it's like crazy, like how strong those friggin' jets are. It's not the gas fireplace. It's a soft, gentle flame, just pissing through gas. So, yeah, I know I've been on that. And the other rule of thumb that I've been adhering to is can't leave the house alone. If you leave the house alone, you got to turn all the space heaters off. And quite frankly, I don't even want the goddamn fireplace running. These aren't safe appliances. They need someone here to be able to call the fire department if the shit hits the fan. So we kind of have someone's got to be home rule, and I have been home. I really have. Tonight was the first night I went out. My wife and I went out, and we had to make sure that the kids were staying home. And so my son had his girlfriend over, and they just they were probably glad to see us go out. Yeah, the exhaust blower does, it's pretty loud. I wouldn't say it's the quietest thing, but it works. No, I can't have a wood fireplace here. So in my state, you can only have one item go into a chimney. I think my chimney is too small in diameter. for a fireplace. I'd have to see. You could probably stick a wood-burning stove in one side of it, but there's already my gas heater going out there. And my state doesn't allow more than one device on a chimney. You can't have multiple devices on a single chimney. Although they did illegally run it here like that for years before we got here. But what happened was I moved from oil to gas, and now it could be vented right out the side of the house because it's like 97% efficient. Only 3% of the heat actually goes out the friggin' out. That's why they can use PVC, right? It doesn't get that hot. But they stopped that. It's this new material, but it's still, I'm getting, I think it's a 96 or between 96 and 97% efficient. So you're getting between a 3 and 4% loss out the heat pipe. I think they said my friggin' my oil burner was like 68 or 70% efficient. So, 32% of the heat was going right out the chimney. Supposed to get down to 18. Yeah, we were. You got to remember this is Fahrenheit, guys. For you Celsius guys, you're like 18. That sounds great. 18 Fahrenheit. We got down to 10, 11 degrees a couple of these nights. It is brutal. You warm up by taking a shower. And it's so friggin' cold in here. You can't shake the friggin' cold off. So, it'll be good to finally get the furnace in. And like the guy pointed out, he said, you have an Infinity, but you don't have the Infinity control board. You don't have the Infinity thermostats. He goes, so it's acting like a performance system. You have a 2-stage. That's it. He goes, you're literally replacing it with the same thing. He goes, I could put an Infinity in, but it's going to cost you more money. And you'd have to spend a lot more money, not just the furnace, but he goes, you would have to replace. He goes, you don't have because he said, well, do you have the Infinity thermostats? I said, no. He goes, yeah, then don't do it. It's a waste of money. He goes, those thermostats are going to run you about $600 a piece. There's an extra $1,200 right there because we have 2 zones. And he said, you need the control board, which is, I forgot if he said it was another $500 or $1,000. And I was like, yeah, no, we're probably going to move out of here in 5 to 10 years. So, whatever. So you can treat the wife to medium tonight. Yeah. Yeah, we're off the value menu. 10 over in Detroit. Yeah, usually you guys get it before we do. It usually plunges down into the middle of the country and then sort of works its way towards us, It's pretty rare you get an eastern plunge. It's usually more like in the center of the country, in the Midwest. Comes down Chicago, over the lakes and all that. But then it sort of meanders our way. So you might be wondering, why am I playing this and not, oh my God. Oh. Oh. All right here. Not gonna work? Nope. Huh. Oh, wait. Ah. There it goes. Nice. So why am I playing this? because I finished up all the Guitar of the Week videos this week. And I just I keep the boxes next to the furnace, right across the hall, but it's in that hallway. And I said, oh, I just got to get these boxes out of here. And so they sent me the labels, and unfortunately, this is the first time they've done it. The Fender was in its own box, but I think it was a Yamaha, a Jackson, and the EVH were all in a giant shipping box, individually boxed themselves, but also in a giant shipping box. So I got two labels, one for the Fender, the Telecaster, and the one for the other three, and it had a 38-pound shipping weight. I said, oh, that's it. And so I packed them all back up. I said, oh, I got to get them out of here. I can't leave these. I can't leave these until Tuesday. This is my guitar, yeah. This is, this was a gift from Bobby right around the time Eddie passed away. And I had a Frankenstein. He had a bridge on it, but it wasn't a great bridge. He'd be the first to tell you that. And I had this, but it was black. And I was like, it's got chrome hardware. And, at first I was going to buy a chrome one. And then I was like, in the true spirit of the Frankie, I'm just going with the black. Because I have it and it works. I go like this. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There it goes. I think he did put the reflectors on the back. Right? Some are missing. And the neck is, I think, a Warmoth or a Mighty Mite, and I sent it to, see that right there? I sent it to my friends at Acacia Guitars, and they refinished the neck. The neck had no finish on it, and it was really starting to get dark and dirty, and I was talking to the guys at Acacia, probably at a NAMM show, and I was like, hey, what do you think I should do? And they're like, I would finish it. If you want it to last, they're like, I would finish it. They said, they're like, as much as you don't think it would, he goes, it will split over time. He goes, you can kind of seal it with your hand oils. He said, but, he goes, so what I wound up doing was sending it to them, and they completely sanded it down. They oil rubbed a finish on it. It's an oil finish, hand oil rubbed finish. And then they put it on the buffing wheel, and they really gave the frets, I don't know if I can get this here, they really did the frets up for me, right? They put the whole neck on a friggin' buffing wheel and really, smoothed the frets out, real nice. It was noticeably nicer. And then they had a new toy. They had a laser cutter, and they cut my logo into the back of the headstock because they were dying to try that thing out, I think. I swear to God, it was like a new toy. They're like, oh, we put a thing on the back of the head. I was like, oh, that's nice. Yeah, you know what, dude? This could be Warmoth. It could be see if it's Warmoth. No, I don't think it's Warmoth because Warmoth usually has the side, right? They're on a gear. This could be Musicraft. Bobby was pretty. he was trying to go all in on the Frankie. He had put some time and effort into this guitar, and then I think. I think he might have got frustrated with the bridge. The bridge was kind of shitty, And oddly enough, he did not have a low friction volume knob. And I go, dude, I'm just surprised. He goes, yeah, I never got around to it. So I stuck a low friction volume knob in it. I'm pretty sure, I'm like 99% sure that is a Seymour Duncan 59 in the bridge. And the neck pickup doesn't work. Pretty sure. Like 99% sure. Because it's one of the few Duncans that they don't brand Duncan. Right? The 59 is one of the few ones that doesn't have the Seymour Duncan writing on the top. Unfortunately, unlike the Frankie you can buy from Fender, I believe that is a dummy pickup and does not work. Right? I don't think it's a working pickup. So if you have the Fender Frankie, it is a working pickup, and a lot of people do a push-pull pot to go, like someone just said in the comments, they'd use a push-pull pot rather than add a toggle switch. Just use a push-pull to go to the neck pickup. Unfortunately, this does not have a working pickup. It's a dummy pickup. Can we ask the price of this? He gave it to me. I don't know what he put into it, but I gotta think he had. I kind of think he had, the pickup alone is $90. I'm thinking this neck probably cost him $250. And then the body I gotta think was at least $100. What is a, and then I forget if he painted it or if he had a guy do it. He might have gone to somebody who was doing this work and had it like mostly done, and then he added the bridge or something like that. But that's a real Floyd Rose. The only thing is that it has the screw on. I could have got the chrome 84, which looks like the OG one, right? In other words, it has the nylon washer down here. Instead, like my old Kramer still does, right? It's the old school. I bought it. I put it in. It didn't fit. This dropped right in and worked perfectly. And I'm like, why am I fighting this? I'm just gonna use the one I friggin' have, And this was a gift from a company at NAMM, not Floyd Rose, but they were a big Floyd Rose dealer. I want to say it was like something, Smith Strings? I don't see a pack. I used to have a pack up on the shelf there. They sold the company. They don't even own it anymore. The industry changes. I hooked up with them the first year I went. I went in 2014. So, yeah. So the reason why I was late tonight was that we went to go see. My wife dragged me out to John Waters. Here he is yelling at the crowd. He was funny. Do I have another shot of him here? Yeah, one more. Right there. He did his Christmas sermon, which is, it's fun. It's scathing. Did I ever take him out for dinner? No, but I've given Bobby a number of guitars over the years. Not as nice as this, though. I gave him at least one Donner, maybe a couple of Donners. And, I was like, just take it. Just get it out of here. I'm tripping over him. I know I gave him definitely one. And there was another one he said, I really like that guitar, And I was like, oh, dude, come get it. Just take it. He was like, seriously? And I'm like, seriously? He goes, I might drive over there right now. Go drive over right now. Just take it. Just get it out of here. I am friggin' tripping over this friggin' thing. And when it's an expensive guitar, I can put it up on reverb. I don't mind selling pedals because they're so small. But it's tough to sell a $99 guitar on friggin' reverb. To earn $60 to schlep a friggin' guitar. And who wants to pay the shipping on that? They can buy them with free shipping. They're so hard to sell. Now, I could go through Craigslist, and get a bunch of emails. Yeah, my cousin's going to come and get it. Oh, is he? The cousin scam. I'm not going to get it, but my cousin is going to come by. Oh, is he? And, but I can't, they won't let me back on Craigslist unless I give them my cell phone number. When I give them my Google number, they don't like the number. And I said, well, that's the only number I have. I don't want to give you my cell phone number. That's private. And they're like, yeah, then you can't post a listing. And I'm like, then we are done here. Because I am not friggin', I'm not doing it. Not doing it. Oh yeah, no, that suit was, God, it was as loud as he was. There's another shot of it. Right there. Yeah. The thing is that I had to take these very, very secretively. They, right before they came out. Please be advised of the exits. And there's absolutely no photography, no videotaping, and no audio recording allowed of any kind. Please respect the artist's wishes. And I was like, yeah, I'm taking a photo. So, sorry, bro. In fact, I'm going to sell that up on Craigslist. Any experience with Godot trims? I like Godot trims. They make a really good Floyd Rose. That's the one I'm most familiar with. Although these are both Godot trims. These two right here. I like the Godot trim. I think they make good stuff. I like their Floyd Rose too. I think they make a really good, maybe one of the better. I like the Floyd Rose, and I like their version of the Floyd Rose, and I like the Edge, which I think was made by Godot. Right? Did Godot make the Edge tremolo for Ibanez? I don't know. People are talking. But this week was EVH week because this showed up recently. Look at this thing. It's a lot of research in there. It's a ToneChaser. Let me get down to ToneChaser cam. Yeah. There you go. And the author, Steve Rosen, reached out to me and said, yo, I think you I haven't had a chance to do much reading of it because I just got it pretty recently. And I don't know if you heard, my furnace is broke. I've been running around. Well, he's got a lot of photos in there, at different parts. And of course, there's a ton of stuff. And I think there's definitely a couple of like a little bit of interviews in here. Yeah, I'm seeing like interviews, more and more interviews, and that's it. And it goes, yeah, a lot of back and forths. Yeah, it's mostly interviews, from what I can see. Just looking at it, But anyway, ToneChaser. You chasing tone, bro? I know, shiver while reading. It's hard to concentrate when it's 11C. It all gets done on Tuesday. And the season finale, well, I'm thinking about it. I tell you, the other thing is that, like, I don't know if you noticed it, the binding is actually raised. He put some money into this book, I can tell you that. The season finale of Guitar of the Week is on Monday, which is tomorrow at this point. At least on the East Coast. And big finish, big finish. And it should be good. I shot the video. It feels like yesterday, but I think it was today. The new Morello signature has a Goto bridge. Is that an MIJ guitar, by the way? That new Morello Fender? You know, it might be. Because it kind of has like a Kramer headstock, right? Isn't that like his old Kramer? But they can't call it Kramer because he's not with Kramer, he's with Fender? I think it could be. You think it's Mim, yeah. Just so when I see Goto, I immediately think MIJ, right? Because a lot of MIJ guitars are Goto parts. Ibanez has been Goto forever. When usually Jackson or Charvel does their stuff in Japan, seems to be Goto, right? Vola, they're solid MIJ, Goto, you know. Yeah, but you're saying Mim. Yeah, okay. That's odd. That seems to be an artist's choice then for them to do that because they're MIJ and you got to import. You got to get them in and then right versus some. Well, I guess they're all imported at this point. Even the OG would be imported from Germany, right? The Floyd Rose was never made in the USA. Until now, but not really. It's built in the USA because they're not up to enough percentage where they can say made in USA. They make I want to say the saddles and the nut. They machine the saddles and they make they 3D print the nut and the nut plates. And then I think everything else is imported. Because I was talking to Tone King, he goes, no, they're made in the U.S. I said, yeah, but they're not. I said, the saddles and the nut. He goes, well, what else is there? I'm like, the block, the plate, the screws, the machine blocks, the clamps that hold the strings in. I'm sure those screws, they're all imported. Right, that's all coming out of almost certainly China. Maybe Indonesia, but I'm thinking China. I think it's the performance neck, which is based on Kramer. I think so. I think he played a Kramer when he was younger, but he's not with Kramer. It's Flamer. Right? It's Fender. They're like, sure. Although that headstock, probably nobody owns it, right? Right, that hockey stick headstock was never trademarked, right? What are the electric bills looking like for next month? Not good. I'm thinking pretty freaking bad, you know? I mean, I've got I got 6 devices running at least 600 watts each. And I got a couple of them at 900 watts, strategically on the higher power lines. And in the water places, right, the bathrooms, got to run them a little bit higher. And, just to make sure that, we were so cold here a couple of the nights, where we live, water freezes at 32 degrees. And it was down to like 10 or 11. That's a hard freeze, right? That's when people start to say, oh, shit, I have frozen pipes, it gets that cold. If you have an area that's not heated that great in your house, you have to deal with it. It's, it's a drag. Though one good thing that's coming out of it is that I guess, he has to bring in an electrician to do the electrical work. Only an electrician can pull the permit. And just literally just to connect the lines. He doesn't have to run anything. The lines are already run to it. He literally is the only guy who can disconnect and reconnect the lines, which seems stupid that an HVAC person can't do it, but you have to be a licensed electrician in this state, and certainly in this town, and only he can pull a permit. So they're doing everything above board. But he's a little, sorry, I'm hitting my foot here. He's a little independent guy, and he lives very close, like the next town over. So, be good to get his card, because I got about a half dozen friggin' electrical projects I need to get done. And if he's just like a little, independent guy, that could be so helpful to get him to come over, and I need some more receptacles down here. And even once we fix the heat, this back corner gets so friggin' cold. It's the north side, right? It faces the north. Never sees any sun. It's the coldest part of the house. I might even put a tiny bit of electric baseboard back there just to take the chill off that back. We'll see. Oh, so the original had a composite neck. That's interesting. I doubt they're doing that now. The new Sig is definitely a wood neck, though. Yeah. It would be, oh my God, it just adds so much friggin' cost. Yeah, leave that to Aristides? Aristides? What's that company? They do all composites, right? Yeah, high water bill, high electric bill is cheaper than frozen pipes. Yeah, especially when they burst out the side of your house and you have a frozen waterfall. You ever see that? You ever see it when the water doesn't go in the house, it goes outside, and like literally there's a frozen waterfall down the side of the person's friggin' house. Oh, what a friggin' nightmare. My God. Oh, Alshon throwing down. We own the headstock. Oh, my stars. Oh. Yeah, so we got hit with it. And you know what? It's so funny because I remember back in November them saying brace for impact because they detected it's a warm air like oscillation going on at the North Pole. And they basically said it's slightly warmer air that's up aloft, and based on how it wobbles, it can send a blurb of polar air headed our way. It could either head to Siberia, which is on the other side of the North Pole, or could head to us, and it went right down through Canada. We're on the brunt of that. and they basically said it's this, like, basically like a wobble that happens occasionally. But they said usually the wobble doesn't happen until like January or February, and you're all sort of like ready for it. They're like, it's one of the earliest wobbles they've seen, and oh boy, it sent the cold air. Like I said, last year, this prior week was between 55 and 65 friggin' degrees, and the week before was between like 45 and 55. What a difference a year makes, my God. Thank you. I'm breaking news here tonight. Happy holidays, Alshon. Yeah, I was saying, I don't know if you saw it, but when my wife dragged me out to the John Waters Christmas special, where he berated us for an hour. Yeah, he was funny. He was funny. Have a good one, Michael. Have a good one, Mark. I know, I'm late tonight. Love a good comedy show. Yeah, he was great. He came out and basically did his Christmas sermon, and which went for about an hour. And it was funny. It touched on so many things, and the thing is I mean, you really, if you want to get like half of his jokes, you've got to be up on like pop culture, because man, he is throwing the references like non-stop, and you could hear it because you would hear some people would really get it, and you could hear the laughter, like it's like, oh, like, because he would say something so quick and people would go like, oh. But if you don't know who that is, oh God. Yeah, made in Baja. Yeah. Actually, and I know he'll keep it a secret because he's sworn to secrecy, but Alshon is one of the few people to have seen the final Guitar of the Week of the year, because I happened to text him a photo of it a while back and said, check this puppy out, and he was like, nice. Oh yeah, Trogly did a review, sure, of the new Morello X. Yeah, I again, and here I am playing a signature guitar, but I go in and out on Sig models. It's kind of too associated with a single person, and a lot of times I find that they make crazy artist choices that I'm like, I feel like the regular production guitars played a little safer. You're not going to get tiny little necks or big giant chunky necks where the artist might want that. I played a Johnny Winter one time. I was shocked at how wide the neck was and how thin it was. It was like the craziest neck. I'm like, oh, this is the artist. This is the artist saying, oh, this is how I like it. I think it was a Johnny Winter. I think it was a Firebird. But man, it was definitely artist specs without a doubt, which is what it should be. You know, if you want to play what the artist likes, that's it. You know. So, but I go, you know, I'm sort of in and out on them. I mean, and again, of all the nights to be raging about artist guitars, I'm playing like one of the most, you know, associated guitars to an artist out there. You're on team Les Paul is a Sig model. I'm kind of. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Oh man, so the Christmas song is almost done. I thought it was going to come out this week, but I ran out of friggin' time. And but it's definitely going to come out next week for sure. Guitar, I was going to say it could come out tomorrow maybe, but not really, because I've got to do some editing. It could come out, though, Monday's Guitar of the Week, and I wouldn't want to step on that. So maybe Tuesday. I think Wednesday I have another guitar guitar video scheduled. So could push it to Thursday, but then you're just 7 days out from Christmas. I'm thinking earlier. I'm thinking like Tuesday should be the day maybe. I got kind of a quiet day then. I got things going on both Monday and Wednesday. I'm thinking maybe Tuesday. I would do it tomorrow if I already had it like completely rendered, but I just don't. And I'm really psyched about this year's Christmas song. It's a talkie. It's got lyrics and a vocalist. I had it in my friggin' rapping station back there. I'm just adding the guitar parts, right? And it sounds freaking good. I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy, and I had to go through like literally 150 iterations before I had one I was happy with. That sounds about right. In fact, I started looking at my numbers on Suno, and I've put together like almost 400 songs. And out of 400 songs, I'd say there's about 15 that are like... Now, granted, a lot of those were remixes of the same song, and that counts, right? If they're doing processing power, that counts. But I'd say of all of them, only really about a dozen. The ones that really stick out are the ones that you don't even think about. You just throw it together, and you're like, you know what? That's actually really good. Right? It just catches you a certain way. Though you gotta be careful. I had it write a song about the passing, a tribute to China Mike, who passed of ALS a couple of years ago, and I was a puddle after the first verse. I couldn't get through the song. It was too nice. The lyrics were too poignant. It was too on point, and it tore me up. I said, oh no. What have you unleashed? Oh no, it ruined me. I was like, no, I can't do this. So, too soon. I had all the best intentions, but I just wasn't ready for it. That is good and empty. What was anything by adding the red and to the black and white guitar? I think he was looking to have a different look per album, right? Didn't this come out in the third album? Right? Or maybe was it the fourth? Was it by Diver Down he had this? I feel like he was trying to go for a new look like every year. Right? So first one was black and white, and then he did the Bumblebee. Then I feel like on Women and Children First, he was all over the place. He had the shark, right? He had a number of weird ones. Right? That's like the weird, like, 80 to 82 period. And then it all seems to come together by, like, 84. Will Suno do lyrics that are public domain? Sure. I mean, I whipped the lyric. I wrote 99% of the lyrics of all the lines in the whole thing. Only the first two were from by Suno. The first two lines. And it's funny because I had a friend here who I had sent a prior version to, and he came over and I said, "Oh, this is the final version." And he was like, he noticed I had changed a lot of the lyrics. I said, "Yeah, you're just refining and refining and refining, and you're trying to get to a place where you're really happy with it." And at the very end, I made a switch, and he said, I kind of like this new one. He goes, it's funnier. The whole thing is a satire. The whole thing is a goof on Christmas, on Christmas songs. Where My Keys At? That's one of the best. Where My Keys At is actually a banger. I've had it write a bunch of other songs. So I have a friend of mine who, his mom is so frail she had to go into round the clock care, and so they're he's moving on. It's like she's out of the house and he's going to be out of the house, and he's moving up to Maine. And so, it's like I've known this guy since 1984. And so I said, you know what, maybe I'll have Suno whip up a Shipping Out to Maine song, None of them were all that good. Couldn't come up with the right sort of balance, the right sort of sound. I tried to have it right. He was way into the Dead. So how would you characterize the Dead? And they said, well, I literally went online and said, how would you characterize the music of the Grateful Dead? And they said, it's kind of psychedelic rock, but not really. It's kind of Americana. It's a little bit of bluegrass. They're like, it's kind of hard to define that band. I'm like, they're kind of jam band. So I had them try a bunch of different styles. They all sucked. I didn't like any of it. And I'll tell you this, when you listen to the music on Suno, you can tell the difference between the people that have a bit of a musical ear and the people that don't. There's a whole bunch. There's a ton of AI slop garbage up there. And I'd say the worst ones are the people that they go up there and they fancy themselves a singer, but they just need a band behind them. And they're going to sing and, use the studio to sing and upload their vocal track and have someone and have the band behind them. And, the bottom line is that they're just not good singers. And as I was telling my friend that was over the other day, I said, any one of these singers on Suno, if they were real people, would be quitting your band so freaking fast. Because they'd say, you know what? I'm more talented than you guys. I'm a solo act now. I go, isn't that kind of how it turns out? If the singer is like stupid talented, the band never lasts. Always breaks up. Oh, yeah, that sounds like Ed. Ed hated the black and white was getting copied. So he did right. He noticed people making their own versions, and then so he added the red to throw them off. Where's your black and white now? Yeah, see? Yeah. You mean auto-tune can't fix it? No. Now, here's this. Even if auto-tune can fix your pitch, it still can't fix your timbre. Right? There are plenty of people that can sing in pitch, but their voices just suck. They're just terrible singers, right? They just don't have a good vocal quality. Right? So, like I said, if the Suno singers were in your band, it would be just a matter of time before they said, you know what? I'm more talented than all you losers. See ya. I'm a solo act now. Sounds a little off. So we're getting the wrapping done. Getting the tree up. You know why? Because the Christmas presents were over in the synth area. And I gotta clear that friggin' area out for the friggin' furnace. So gotta wrap them and get them upstairs. Get them out of here. What's up, Johnny? Yeah, it'll be a Christmas version of Where My Keys At. Where's my trees at? Where's my trees at? He's going out to try and find a Christmas tree, but they're all sold out. Where my trees at? Good work. It's as good as anything else. It's so funny because I was playing like some of the songs from my friend who's a lifelong musician, a guy I've known since like 1982, and he's like, with just even the slightest promotion, any one of these songs could be a hit. I go, I know, right? He goes, it really is just making a commodity out of the whole industry. I said, yeah, pretty much. It is, yeah, that is a logical follow-up. That's a great riff. Wound up between the world. I tell you this, I do play with the Suno music a lot. It's, it's like the best. Like my friend, not the last guy who was here, but the guy before him, we were going over Suno stuff. And he's like, remember when we thought Band in a Box was good? I go, yeah, pretty right. Just, tell it the key you want it to play in, and it just whips out a tune. He goes, that just sounds so, like, dated compared to this. I go, yeah, no. And then he was like, you think they're using like MIDI? I go, get out of the 90s, bro. They're not using MIDI. This is spectral analysis and this is spectral printing, right? It's like they put together, it's almost like putting together a photograph, an AI image. They put together the image and then they calculate all the dots that have to go through to make up that image, and then they write it from top to bottom. And boom, it's done. And that's pretty much what's happening. If you notice when they write the song, they write it from left to right so you can start playing it as it's still writing the rest of it. I said that's straight up spectral printing, without a doubt. Look, Bobby's here right now, and he says the bridge pickup is a Duncan 59. He might be a little rewound. Duncan 59. In fact, Bobby's one of the only other people, I think, to have seen Monday's big finale guitar. He's another guy who's seen it. There's very few people who've seen that guitar. But it all will be revealed on Monday. It's the big finish. How does Suno do it? Volume. Was that right when they were doing the change? They were the bank that all they did was make change. They're like, yeah, but how do you make any money? He goes, volume. But not if you're just breaking a 20 into 10 ones and 2 5s. Wouldn't mind getting a studio version just for doing the stem separation. Yeah, I've only used the stem separation in things that they've created. I haven't uploaded anything. I tried to upload a Dio song and they were like, no. It's like, no, I can't upload a Dio song. They're like, no, you cannot upload a Dio song. All right. I wanted you to take the Dio song and make it a funky Dio song. They're like, yeah, we're not doing that. So they shut me down uploading that. But Hanning has uploaded his own songs, and they were fine with it. And I'm sure I could write a riff and upload it and say, like, create a song around this riff. And it would probably do. I haven't tried it yet. Oh, man. But what's crazy is when you listen to the stem separation, you can really hear, and maybe it's because it's poor separation, but I don't think so, because when they separated Henning stuff, they separated it like really, really good. When they separate the Suno tracks, you hear a lot of sideband compression. That's a mastering process that all major studios do. It's what makes it sound so polished, right? So what they do is they look for frequency overlap between instruments, right? Maybe there's a guitar track, but then at some point, backing vocals come in and they kind of occupy the same frequency space. They will reduce the guitar. You can still hear it, but they sideband compress from the vocal track to the guitar track so that it pumps down the volume in sort of real time. You can hear it going on in the stem separation. I said, oh, no, look at that. That's like a sideband compression. You know, that probably is the original track, and it's been sideband compressed. That is so friggin' common. You know? And any pro studio would do that. But I don't think Henning did it on, like, a lot of his tracks. And I'm sure it sounds fine. So they sound more like their original tracks when it's broken up. When Suno breaks them up, you can hear, right? You can hear it. You can hear it pumping a little bit, and you can hear the bottom drop out on like a friggin' guitar track. Like what the hell happened to the meat of the sound? It sounds so thin. You can still hear it, but you lose a lot of the meat because it doesn't want to compete with the backing vocals. They say, oh, listen to that. It pumps out when the backing vocals comes in, and then it comes back in. Then it pumps out when the backing vocals comes in again because they don't want to occupy the same frequency space. Clever. That is kind of what a pro studio does. Okay, David says, the cover feature is so much fun. Upload your own stuff, and it's addictive. Once they figure out the artifact in the stems, it'll be magical. Yeah. So, yeah, it is. It's kind of crazy. There's a correct timing by shifting the notes to the nearest beat. I don't know. I haven't uploaded my own thing yet to try it, but I can just tell you this. I had a friend over when I first got it. And I said, dude, you got to come by, and we got to mess around with this. And he did. Like, literally a couple of days later, he came by. And we put together a track, and he was very specific. I only want just guitar, bass, and vocals, and no other instruments. And it put together this little tune. And then he goes, let's pull this into studio, and let's see, like, what we can do. And let's see if we can add a trumpet solo, or we can add, like, great, because he goes, I purposely kept it simple so that we can add stuff in the studio, and let's see how it does. I said, that's a great idea. So we pull it in the studio, and he says, right around this halfway point here, right after the when it really kicks into that, last verse and the last chorus and the final ending here, I kind of want drums to come in. So he highlights that area, and he says, make a drum track. And we sit there, and it bleep blorps, and it makes the drum track. And oh my God, did that drum track suck? It was completely off beat. It's like he's falling down a fucking flight of stairs. I'm like, oh my God, what is wrong? He's like, dude, this is terrible. And so he goes, well, let's try, rather than selecting just that part of the song, let's select the whole song, and let's see what it comes up with that. And it's bleeps and blorps. And sure enough, it comes in right at the spot he wanted it to come in because it's intelligent. And it says, yeah, no, that's the spot where you come in on this song. It's kind of slow. It's kind of building. When it comes out of that second chorus and goes into that final verse and final chorus, that's the time to really kick in the drums. And it kicks the drums in, and he goes, yeah. He goes, I didn't have to tell it to come in there. It sort of knew that logically that was kind of the place to be. And we were freaking blown away. Yeah, dude, been watching Guitar of the Week. Dude, I've been binge watching. You know that guy, Anatoly, right? He's a power lifter, but he's very skinny. So he shows up at these big muscle gyms, and shows up. He says, "Oh, let me try that weight." They're like, "You want to try this weight?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." They're like, oh, "Dude, you're gonna hurt yourself." Let me try it. And of course, he blows him away because he really is an elite power lifter, and it's kind of funny. So I've been totally freaking binge watching friggin' Anatoly. Do we have any snow? They're saying we're going to get it tomorrow morning. They say it's going to show up. Is it snowing out there now? No. I'm looking on the cams here, and the snow shows up because it reflects back in the camera light. Nah, it doesn't look like anything so far, but they say tonight. Let's check the radar range. Let me see here. Where is it? We gotta go to radar. And I gotta bring this down here. Oh, Jesus. Where'd it go? Right here. No, oh, God. This website is just, it's a friggin', it's an ad machine. Yeah, it's still south of us. I mean, also a little bit west, but mostly south. So, nothing here yet, though it shows a few bands up in more north. It's kind of weird. We're kind of in a little empty zone. But we'll see. What are they saying for hourly? Well, they're saying it starts around 2 a.m. and goes through about 3 p.m. We'll see. They're calling it light snow, though. Not too bad. I love Anatoly's dust mop. Like 250 pounds. It's not that heavy. I think Anatoly's dust mop is 70 pounds, right? It's 32 kilograms, right? 32 kg. So 32 kg, 70 pounds. But that's still heavy. They don't expect it. Boom, right down to the ground. He had one before that was 15 kilograms. But this new one is the latest one is 32. And then, of course, he has the 32 kilogram bucket, too, right? Oh, it's the best. And it's also funny when he tells the girls, he goes, maybe, I show you abs. They're like, oh, yeah, you got abs? Let's see your abs. And he opens his shirt, and they're like, oh, that is impressive. They're like, oh, that is, okay, all right, no, you're right, okay, no, that's pretty good. Yeah. Would love a new studio tour. It's been on my radar forever, but we'll have to wait. I'll make the new furnace a part of the new studio tour. It's your boy, the Andrew guitarist. I'll check it out. All right, Stu Lipa there, enough with the message retracted. Figure out what you're going to say, because you're making me JB angry. I have seen the guy who plays the metal guitar, and it's not just to angry Karens. He finds this one guy who's really good at a whole bunch of situations. Pretty much any viral video, he'll find he'll get a chug going to it. He's really talented. That dude is so friggin' talented. No, we see that. We see you're a little confused. Yeah, I know. I never wear a friggin' long sleeve. You know it's cold if I'm wearing a long sleeve. Oh man. So how was your week? I meant to write down some stuff to do, and I ran out of freaking time. We didn't get home till like almost 11. And my freaking kids drank all the coffee. I was like, I don't like this. I don't like that they're drinking coffee now. It's not too bad in here. Well, we could be up to 16. It's pretty good. Not too bad. Though I have to say, I went up to the attic the other day and it was like 50. That's pretty crisp. Got out of the hospital alive this week. Well, that's always good. I fixed my hot water leak. Oh no, that was underneath the slab and installed the tankless water heater, so that was nice. Yeah, probably felt good to get that out of the way. You know. Yeah, so we hit a what am I hearing over there? Is that a cat? We hit a burger joint before we went to the show tonight, and I ordered the Sam Adams Brick Red, which is a red Irish ale, right? It's a red Irish ale, and it comes out and it's like really, really golden. And I'm looking at him going, kind of looks like an IPA. I take one sip. I go, oh, that is IPA all day. So she happened to be walking by and I said, hey, you sure this is the Brick Red? I think it's not. It tastes like IPA. And she's like, oh, geez. And then she goes running down to another table, and I could see her go, no, it's okay. She gave my beer to another table and gave their beer to me. So she had to bring my freaking beer to me. And maybe she brought that. She can't give them I already took a sip out of it. So she can't bring it down to the other table. And it happens. Yeah, I've been rapping. I'm one deaf rapper. You know I can hang. Nice tone. The 59. I'm so tired. Is it me or good service hard to find? You know what? That area was jammed. I can't tell you how many times I've gone, at least a couple of times, to this same place, which is across from Berkeley. This place, the Boston Burger Company. Walk right in and get a table like instantly, and there was a wait, and there was a bunch of, and we had to wait for like a whole bunch of tables to clear out. It was friggin' packed. They had a full house and a front door packed with people waiting to get in. Just not like them. It was, even my wife said, she's like, it's really busy here tonight. I said, yeah, it really is. And they had put a brand new building in across the street. And because it was like an empty lot when I was going to Berkeley. There's this big empty lot that won't last. And they sort of built it it's kind of over the pike, right? There's some on land, but a lot of it goes like literally right over the Mass Pike, right? They sell off the airspace, like that place in Newton, right? The airspace rights. And we went in there, and it wasn't cheap, but damn, when we got out, the parking was right there, and you could pull right out of there. Don't even have to deal with anything. It was like the friggin' best. What show? It was the John Waters Christmas Spectacular, as seen here. There he is. I think I have another shot of him yelling at us. You're all going to hell. We are actually live. What was the occasion? I think my wife saw the tickets and thought it sounded cool. She said, yeah, you know, she goes, we're going to the John Waters, like, Christmas Spectacular. I said, oh, that should be interesting. It's going to be. There's going to be some people watching that night. Oh, man. I still have that broken blood vessel. It's not even broken. It's like a nodule, right? You know, the vein pops. So the vein gets, like, blown up like a balloon right underneath the surface. It gets so friggin' tender. This has happened before, just like even closing the door in, like, my palm, but never in the finger. I mean, it's pissing me off. What kind of burger did I have? I went with, what did I go with? I went with the Wicked Hot, which is based on the Hot Mess. And it was featured on drive-ins, diners, and dives, or whatever that show is, right? The spiky-haired dude. It was featured on his show. They had two burgers that were featured there. They had one burger that was featured on Rachel Ray, and they had one burger that was featured on I forget the name of it. It's like Carnival Food, the one that he goes and it's like mostly Carnival Foods. He went in there. That dude, Food Network. And it was really good. My wife got a burger that I had there before called the Vermonster, right? And that's a I want to say bacon and cheddar, right? Vermont cheddar cheese, and it's got like sautéed apples on it, right? So it's sort of a sweet and savory thing. I actually had that burger before, and it's really freaking good. I had it like maybe 10 years ago. I think I went to a Steel Panther show, and we stopped in there. I think before Steel Panther. But I went the Wicked Hot. I don't even want to know what's on the Wicked Pissa. Have I checked out any of the guitars in the upcoming Joe Walsh auction? No, I bet he's got some bangers, though. He's been around forever. I bet he's got some pretty crazy guitars and, going up on auction. Any reason why? He's just finally just... it's been a kind of a trend. David Gilmour got rid of all his. Of course, the Beck estate got rid of all his. What's going to happen with Jim... was it Irwin? Irway? Who's the guy? Irwin? Irway? The guy who was the owner of the Colts, and he was a freaking crazy collector. You know, he's got Hendrix guitars, and he's got like, you know, he's got so many friggin' famous guitars out there. He probably bought some of those, what's his name there? David Gilmour. I think when he sold his off, he might have bought one or two of those. Jim Irsay. Yeah, Irsay. Man, he's got he might have one of the most valuable collections of guitars, like literally on the earth. Just because they've been played by famous people, right? They're like famous guitars that were on famous recordings. And he's got... Yeah, no, he passed away, and there was talk that they were going to maybe, sell off the collection because he passed away, and that was his passion and maybe not necessarily his family's. So there was talk of maybe selling off his collection, but who knows? It's got to be worth $1 billion. It's like, he's got, like, it's such a friggin', he's got the Kurt Cobain guitar he played, like, and on all his famous songs. He has got a bunch of super, super valuable, at least to this generation, value goes up and goes down. If guitar goes out of style, if, people that are interested with those guitars, pass away, the market gets smaller and smaller. So, again, anything collectible is always a bit of a gamble. But I'd say he's got one of the most valuable collections on the earth. Oh, yeah. 700 plus items for Joe Walsh. That's a lot. Three. So 1 chord, 3 chord, E minor, 6 chord, A minor, 4 chord. In fact, here to go up here. Mentioned buying Kurt Cobain's guitar. I don't think it'd be for me. I wasn't a huge Nirvana fan. I mean, not that I don't like their songs, but I don't think I ever bought any of their albums or anything like that. By the time they came out, I was 26. You kind of passed your formative years for album purchasing. Irsay's family is auctioning off his collection coming in March. Yeah, I thought I had heard something about that. That's the one that's going to be like, whoa. That's going to be crazy. Estimated value over $1 billion. I knew it. I mean, who has a bigger collection than that? I don't think there is a person. He really was extremely active. Like, really went out and found guitars and, and bought them. He was not shy about spending money. And I know he definitely has 1 or 2 Hendrix guitars. I'm pretty sure he's got 1 or 2 of the Gilmour guitars. He certainly has, I think, one or two Kurt Cobain guitars. And so there's value beyond just the intrinsic value of an old guitar. What's up, Sean? Take a glance at the website. Now, who for Walsh or for Ursa? I think you mean Walsh, right? Joe Walsh Guitar Auction. The Life's Been Good auction. Begins in 2 days, 11 hours, and 38 minutes. Yeah, see? Yeah. Oh, man, he's selling cars. Yari, you know, we were a Yari dealer. So Alvarez had two lines. Alvarez Artist Series, which had a double A. And they had the AY, which is right there. The Alvarez Yari. And it had, that one has a normal bridge, but they had like this crazy, like, separate, like, bridge into the top and then a separate bridge here. It was kind of crazy. I always wanted one of those. I had one, but this other guy in the store, he kind of had his eye on it, and when he found out I took it, he was bummed. I said, oh, you know, I took it because I thought it was going to sell, and nobody was going to get it. So, oh yeah, there's a classic. Wow, current bid $4,500 for a $600 to $800 guitar. You can't be serious. I mean, $3,500, yeah, but it's estimated to go $3,000 to $4,000, and that's an original Ampeg Dam Armstrong. But you know, there wasn't a ton of those. Weighs a ton, I'm sure. The clear plexiglass guitar. Those are friggin' stupid. That's a little crazy to spend that money on that. But, you know, people and money. Yeah, breed love. Wow, he's got a lot of crap, huh? Like every guitar player, he has, you know, 300 times the guitars they need. Oh, a Bo Diddley tribute. Wow. Nice. The old Carvin, I could tell because it has the M22 pickups, right? 22 pole pieces, 11 per bobbin. Huh, pretty, just a USA Select San Dimas. Not bad. Kind of like that one. And it's a relative bargain. How much is he getting for this? Wow. $12.50, it's just a straight up Pro Mod. Who knew he played a friggin' Pro Mod? I've never heard of it. I've never seen him play. Oh, was he with Charvel for a while? He doing Charvel? There's 3 Charvels in a friggin' row. Now they're buying this because of this top, but what they don't realize is that, you know, even though that's a plain top, that's a USA Select, right? That's not. Is this USA? No, it's a friggin' Pro Mod. Again, that goes to show you people bidding on it don't really know. They look at this top and they're like, whoa, cool top, bro. And they're bidding it up to $3,000. But this, although it is a plainer guitar, that's a friggin' USA Select model with a torified neck. I mean, come on. That is worth a lot more than that other one, but it's crazy how that goes. Again, they're judging books by covers. That's nice. Expensive, though. A Collins, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's not bad. Some Dan Electros. No, D'Angelicos. D'Angelico. What was I thinking? D'Angelico. Not Dan Electro. Oh, wow. He's got a few of these. Looks like he was on a D'Angelico kick for a while. Oh, Marshall clone. A couple of acoustic amps. You know, crates, too. Yeah. A crate amp. Yeah, it's going up on their wall anyway. You know, Joe Walsh played that? Cool story, bro. Can you play it? No. No, I can't play it. Oh, my God. He's got an old Ashbury bass. I'm going to pick one of these up for like $250, $300. Yeah. I never heard of this. I think I've seen him play this guitar. God, boy, they have a ton of crap, huh? No wonder he's having a sale. Crate. Was he? He must have been a crate guy. James Gang. Airbrush t-shirts. Nice. Duesenberg. Or Duesenbergs. Yeah, he was definitely with Duesenberg for a while. I remember seeing him play a lot of... I think he had a Duesenberg signature. You know, Joe walked one of those guys. Been with... Oh, man, I'm officially fading. He's been with countless companies as an endorsee, right? Man, more t-shirts. Oh, Dr. Z's. Look at this guy. Stage play. The stage played are going for the more money. That could be the difference between those two guitars. One was stage played and one wasn't. So that's the differential. Oh man. It's Les Paul's 55 Steinway Model B. You can see. I brought it off of Les Paul. Get some Rangers jerseys. Or Duesenbergs. Yeah, geez, Duesenberg hooked him up, huh? Little carbon fiber. Eastwood. Stage played Epiphone. Another Epiphone. Epiphone 58. Nice, he's got an EVH. Frankie's son. Yeah, when I did the EVH guitar this week, you have a lot of EVH aficionados that have to mansplain. I was laughing. You know, dude was like, any of the guitars were called Frankie. It's like, yeah, but this guitar is the striped series. I'm talking about the EVH branded, not his personal guitars. And the Frankie is a very specific model in the lineup. It's the one with the hand-oiled neck. The other ones are Stripe Series or Relic. They have a few different models. It makes you want to go, did you know Frankie is short for Frankenstein? See, now I taught you something. You fucking mansplainers. Can't help themselves, though. Actually, technically, any one of his homemade guitars was a Frankie. Yeah, no shit. oh, go on. Now that's a Port Orford. That's a nice guitar. I looked at one of these. That's a Port Orford cedar. That's a cedar body. This was it's not a 2014, that's a 2015, but nice try. 2013 had the large headstock. 2014 had the channel bound with the maple top. This is the 2015 model, and it would be the Port Orford Select. Came out in the 2015 catalog. It might have a 2014 serial number, but it wasn't available until 2015. Yeah, that's a cool guitar. That's got a real figured neck on it too. It's probably bird's eye. That'd be real nice. Yeah, they're freaking Frank-splaining. Oh, go on. Oh, that's nice. A Mayer Strat with nice flame maple neck. Stage played. Yeah, I think you're right. These stage played ones, when they say stage played, they're getting a little bit more money. Without a doubt. I mean, that's a guitar. It's a friggin' Strat parts caster. It's a guitar they estimate to go between $1,200 and $1,500, and it's up to $3,500. I think that's the stage played coming into, right? Where this guitar here, probably a better guitar. This Eric Johnson. At least it's a complete Fender model and not a parts caster. And, it's $2,000 less. Fender Special Edition Esquire. Look at this. Non-functional bridge pickups. Oh, you fix it. Custom shop 57 Tele. That's a pretty good price for custom shop. Just fix the pickup. But that feels a little depressed, right? And it's not stage played. That is too funny. Goes to show you where people's heads are at. Korea Koa. Another custom. Again, how does the Korea Koa go for $1,750? But this, I mean, again, it's a parts shop, but it's a custom shop neck and a USA body for just a little bit more. Kind of. Again, shows you non-guitar players are really bidding on a lot of this stuff, because the only thing that would explain, oh, dude, you got to buy that coat. I didn't know what I needed to own until I saw it. I didn't know I had to have it. Jesus, look at this thing. That is too funny. Stage worn Moto jacket. Oh man, it's got a couple of them. G5 in the Frost Gold. Classic Series lacquer. Yeah, so they did do a couple of runs. I think it was the Sunburst on the 60s, and I want to say it was the Candy Apple on the 50s, and they came lacquered. All right. Man, does he have a ton of shit, huh? I thought I had a lot of guitars. That's gorgeous, though. 56 Closet Classic, you can tell. Yeah, that's nice. That's real nice. Just a straight-up American Special. Oh, yeah. It's even got the large headstock. That's a guitar that would have sold new for like $899, $999. Many years ago, probably like over 10 years ago. And, maybe $10.99. Because the American Standard would have been $14.50. And these were definitely a little bit less. The Performer Series. Or the Special. I think that's a Performer, no? The large headstock like that? Maybe they rebranded it at some point. Kind of like the Highway 1. Right? Kind of the lower cost. A little bit less. Look at that. Look at the acoustic wall panel. That's kind of cool, though. Joe Walsh won the Zoots lime green suit. Damn. Oh, my God. You should be arrested. Jesus. Leather bike vest. Party of two stage worn bomber jacket. Boy, he kept it all, huh? The parts caster. Diamond anniversary crap. Nice, another nice custom shop. I'm not crazy about the heavy relic though. I'm not a fan of this, right? It's pink over sunburst, which was what they would do, right? So the guitar was already made in sunburst, and then someone would order a custom color, and they'd pull the friggin' sunburst body, and they'd paint the pink right over the sunburst. And then as the pink wore away, you'd say, holy shit, there's like another paint job under this paint job. That was actually pretty common, because they were all painted sunburst first. There's a regular production line. Yeah, he's got a bunch. Custom shop neck. Boy, he goes for the custom shop necks, but it's a parts guitar. He's got quite a few parts guitars, huh? Custom, again, assembled from custom shop components. Parts casters. All right, let me check to the... Actually, Frankenstein was the scientist, not the monster, exactly. Yes, Satchel might be bidding on some of those coats. Yeah, there was a great ad during Halloween where, you know, Frankenstein's monster is like, you know, using it was probably for like Google AI or some shit, right? He's going on and he's getting like recipes, and he finds a video on like how to cut his hair, and Dr. Frankenstein comes home, and you know, they're sitting at dinner, and the monster goes, so not a word about the bangs. I almost fell off my chair. I was like, that's funny. The hell is that? Digital reverberation unit. Jesus, look at this thing. That is crazy. Look at that thing. Like a freaking video game. That's insane. Well, he's got a lot of these panels. So it sounds like he broke up a studio. Oh yeah, the brick suit. Can't go wrong with a brick suit. Eagles Rock and Roll Hall of Fame warrant. Oh, he wore this to the... Oh, so that's why it's so much. Because he wore it to the... he wore it to his Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction. Another American Deluxe. Jeff Beck. You got to be careful with Jeff Beck strats, though. Unless you like big, giant friggin' necks. Got to be careful with those. That's nice. Nice top. AVRI, so American Vintage Reissue. Another American Pro, yeah. Boy, he buys so many guitars, huh? Again, another Strat with a custom shop neck and an American Standard body. He's a parts caster guy, big time. Telly with a neck, a few more amps. High watt, more clothing. Man, that is crazy. Oh, I might want the slot machine. Except I think if it pays out anything, you can't have it, right? If it actually takes quarters, it might be illegal. Right? It has to take like tokens. And pay out tokens. Another parts caster. Man, he's the parts caster king. More amps, Marshall, Hughes and Kettner. More another Marshall. Rode cases. In-ear monitors. That's just gross. Stage War leather vest. Oh, man. Well, Dolce and Gabbana. Oh my God, it's like mine. Except he's got the newer one. So mine was the first iteration, and it wasn't the American Professional, it's the American Standard. And it had individualized saddles, and it had twisted telly custom shop pickups. The second time around, it used, I forget now. Is it like the V? I forget now. But it's not the custom shop twisted tellies, and they went to the brass barrels. So they did 2 iterations of this guitar, and mine is slightly different than this one here. Bridge is a little different, and the pickups are different. And that's the same guitar. Right? It's an alder body on a solid rosewood neck. More parts casters. Custom shop subsonic. That's kind of nice. An Elite. Man, that's pretty recent. Man, he just never stopped buying guitars. So many guitars. You're like, what the hell is he doing even owning an amp like this? But they probably gave it to him. Right? You just get shit sent to you because you're famous. Trust me, it happens. Platinum Sales Award for Urban Cowboy. I mean, who's wearing this? Just who? Although it might pair well with this hat. Just saying. Who's wearing that? All right. Well, this seems to have no end in sight. We might have to call it a day at some point. It's almost coming up on 2 hours here. We've been streaming, so I'm probably gonna bow out at about the 2-hour mark. Look at this combat suit. Joe W. fan. Signed glass sheet. Boy. Is that a rosewood neck? That is that is solid rosewood neck. Yeah, see, his other one was a little nicer. The luck of the draw, a little light. I'm lucky both of mine are pretty dark like this. But that's a little kind of mocha for the solid rosewood. Yeah, there's the other solid rosewood. He got the... I really like the solid rosewood. I can see him right now. And remember, 700 items. We're gonna get to 350. We're gonna get halfway there. Look at that. That's a dark. That's a very recent guitar. Joe, why are you buying classic vibe 50s? Unless they're sending them to you, which they might. They just send them to me. You haven't seen a single he seems to be a Fender guy. I'm seeing mostly Fender. And that's a channel bound neck right there, I think. That looks channel bound to me. And not bound. It looks channel bound, which is an inlaid neck. Yeah, channel bound. So that's cool. You don't see a ton of channel bound outside of the normal ones. That's definitely a little bit, not rare, but certainly not common. Kind of semi-rare. Look at all this shit. Oh my God. Oh man. Haha. It's like freaking Pee-wee Spike. Look at this. Motorized rail car. Oh my God. Life has been good. So far. Anyway. I think we're going to end it here. On Joe. I know, God, how many Strats did he have? I'd say he's a Strat guy based on what I was seeing there. I mean, sure, we had pockets of like, Duesenberg, and we had pockets of Epiphone, and we had pockets of these other brands, but I'd say the Strat is his number one from what I could see. I know, right? The Pee Wee Herman bike, that looked pretty friggin' amazing. But I'm crashing out. I was up early, and it's late. I'm gonna head off to bed. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out this week. I know sorry it was a late show, but I had an event. I still haven't missed a week in like 3 years, including Christmas Day and Christmas Eve. Both had shows, and New Year's Eve and New Year's Day Eve. So I'd say we got a pretty good record going. In fact, a couple of times where I did go later, I wound up doing a show anyway. I think the only time I didn't was I was sick. I had one time I was really sick. I said, "Yeah, no, I'm throwing up. I can't. We're not doing this." So, all right, guys, I will see you in a week. Check out Monday's video. It is the season finale of Guitar of the Week, but it returns, I think, January 19th. And I already talked with Sounds. They're going to get the next round of guitars to me like the prior week, the week of the 8th. And then it starts up on the 19th. So it'll be back before you know it. So you guys have a wonderful week, and I will see you in a week. Check out Monday's video, and hopefully I can be back to t-shirts in a week. You watch, the second we put this frickin' furnace in, they're going to be like unusually warm temperatures. Of course it's unusually warm now. Of course. Right on cue. All right, guys. Have a great week. I'll see you in a week. And there you go. No. You rock. All right. I'm off. Later.